Gang's all here. Well, let me ask you a question. Have you been to a store lately trying to get something and find that there's one person helping, 10 different people in the store and they're just overworked running from person to person? I have. I was getting a suit last week and that exact same thing happened to me. Have you tried hiring new staff and there's not a lot of candidates out there and the ones that you want that you're finding are either underqualified or way too expensive? Heck, have you been to a Starbucks or a Chipotle only to find that they're closed because they just don't have staff? We see the signs all over the place for different restaurants, different businesses. They just don't. There's just no people around. So if you experience any of these, you've experienced what everybody is calling the Great Resignation of 2021. You might be asking, what is that? Well, depending on who you ask and what outlet you read and listen to, between 4.3 and 11 million people literally quit their jobs and decided not to work this year for whatever reason. And we've got a whole lot of ideas on what reasons there are, but the thing about it is you can't do anything about anyone else's business. But you can, however, do something about yours. And that's what we're going to do. Give you some tips today on how you cannot be affected by TGR 21, as I'm calling it, TGR 21. But real quick, you're joining us here on the Reboot, and I'm Jim Gast, and me and the Reboot crew are here to help you each week evaluate important business decisions in the areas of business, operations, human resources, marketing, technology, cybersecurity, so on and so forth. We're all business owners, and we have a lot of experience in these areas ourselves. In addition to that, we deal with businesses all day long that we talk to and need assistance. So, joining me today are
Brian Bracci, B&L PC Solutions on Long Island in New York. Nope, I did it wrong.
David Luft with LDD Consulting out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, the green chili capital of the world.
Whoa.
I'm Stephanie Groot with Windstar Technologies here in Culpeper, Virginia.
Culpeper, Virginia.
No pepper, no green peppers, no
green pepper. Just saying Culpeper's fun, right?
That's right.
Just saying, but it rolls out. We might be having some other people join us today. We're missing Ryan, Brandon, and a few other guys. Don't worry about it, guys. We'll catch you if you join. That's fine. If not, we'll see you next week. So something happened to one of the Reboot crew this week, and we all know about it, right? And so, Brian, you've had a really rough beginning of the week. I'm really sorry. There's nothing worse than hiring somebody, right? And them not showing up. I'm sorry, dude. You want to tell everybody what happened?
Yeah, the short version is, we've been hiring. We always have ads out there, trying to recruit for different positions, and was aggressively hiring for one position, and sourcing through candidates, found somebody that I knew could fill the job, qualified, technical. I had checked all the boxes, and we extended an offer maybe 3 weeks ago. Some back and forth questions on benefits and compensation and the whole everything, and got a signed acceptance 2 weeks ago. Had a scheduled start date for the 11th, this past Monday. Had some chatter back and forth during last week and the week before, asking him how how was the old company? Did you give you a notice? And he said, they weren't happy, but that was to be expected. And he's like, but I'm really looking forward to working with you guys. I'm so excited to join the team, and I love everything. And there was one other subsequent email just confirming everything, any questions, and all was good. Sent out just a last minute on this past Friday. Let me know if you come in at 9. If you have any questions, let me know. Didn't need to really get a response to that. It was more informative. Came in Sunday to get all of, as you guys know, onboarding somebody, an employee, especially in our field. I mean, we use 15 to 20 different products that we all have to have a license and an account for. Setting up all these accounts takes hours to do, and permissions and tenant access and all this stuff, phone access, you name it. You can't. We have a whole onboard checklist. Then get home, and then 10 o'clock Sunday night, get an email. I'm going to stay where I am. And old school me, the way you're going to stay where you are, that's great. That's, I get that. And I move on. That's usually done when you put the offer out. Said candidate goes to their boss and says, I have an offer on the table. What can you do? All right, I'll match it. I'll do this. I'll do that. Then tell me I'm staying. That's how I always known it to work. Not accept a job and then less than 12 hours before say I'm not coming. That's, and that was a bummer.
Well, you know what? In 2020 and 2021, we also expected the shelves to have toilet paper too, right?
True.
That's the next show.
Yeah, right. Actually, that was the last show, wasn't it, man?
Buying a bidet on the budget.
Yeah, right. You know what? Everything's in the crapper these days. Oh, that was another really bad pun on that one. Yeah, and so let's kind of reboot on that for a second, right? I think that I think you hit everything right, man. One of the things I'd like to focus on in today's show is making sure that businesses are doing what they need to get that talent in there and keep that talent in their businesses, right? So they don't want to leave. But you're right. I mean, it usually happens right away. And so, people have got to do what they've got to do.
Totally get that. Yeah, absolutely.
And you're right. In the past, it's been much quicker. Yeah, I'm gonna stay with who I'm with. I put an offer out there, and I fully expect that person that's gonna take that offer, they're gonna accept my offer, they're gonna put in a resignation, and I know what's gonna happen next. They either care you're leaving or they don't care that you're leaving, right?
Yeah.
And sadly, what happens most of the time right now, they care that you're leaving because they've got to do the same thing that you're going through, and nobody wants to go through that, right? Nobody wants to hire right now. It's hard, right? I don't you guys think hiring staff is even harder than finding new customers?
It has been this whole year.
Oh yeah, yeah, Mr. Luff, you've got plenty of stories on that one, right? I mean,
I've just been trying the whole time.
Yeah. What kind of effort have you put forth?
If you're looking for entry level, it's pretty straightforward. But as you get up the ladder, it gets a lot more difficult.
Yeah. Is the talent that's out there that you're all seeing, is it rather expensive compared to a few years back?
I was talking to some people the other day, and they said that people on average are asking 30% more. And that's just what it is. So you better bump.
Yeah, and I see some of the ads that are out there. I'm looking at them and looking at the compensation packages and seeing where we were 3 years ago. And it's at whatever level you're looking at or whatever position you're looking at, we know the value of that, right? And it's to see where it's at now, and you're forced to either don't put your salary info out there or match and beat it. I mean, there's nothing else you can do.
I think you need to do a gut check as well too. Are you able to perform at that level? Like, don't just ask for 30% more if you're just not that top player. I'm sorry, like it's a give and take,
Yeah. So it's from an employee's perspective, you're saying, right? Yeah. I think we all have tools that we use to weed out the people that just can't perform. We want to talk about some of those tools we use.
Sure. I mean, we use a hiring assessment that has basically an intelligence test, a personality test, and a typing test, and a little bit of tech work. And it's proven very accurate. We've been using it for 3 years, and what I see is the results of that test are very accurate. And not that assessments can't be wrong on occasion, but it really does, for us, tend to identify, are they going to be super technical or super personable?
Yeah. And what
have you turned away candidates because of their results? Have you not followed up?
Yes.
Yeah.
It depends what kind of position I'm looking for, because if they, on one of the assessments, if they score really high, I found that they are incredibly technical if they have the background and the experience.
Yeah.
But if they score low, they tend to be great customer service. Not that the other ones aren't, but their customer service skills go up, but their troubleshooting ability is not typically as good.
Yeah. I mean, specific to my incident, this wouldn't have helped in that, in this case. But Dave, I think we should talk about, or just mention what you use, and it's the same thing I use, but
Yeah.
talk about it. We're trying to help people, right? So
Yeah. Let's put it. I'm going to put it in the
yeah.
chat. What are you guys using?
Hire Select.
Hi, is that 2 words?
CriteriaCorp Hire Select.
Criteria. I'm typing, guys.
Yep.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about it.
Go ahead, Brian.
Well, I'm fairly new to it. I just this year, and we put it on the applications that you must complete these assessments, or we're not even going to look at the resume. So the way that I look at resumes now is when I get an email from CriteriaCorp about results from the test, I'll look at the results, then I'll look at the resumes. I don't have to be bothered by scrolling through the ZipRecruiter and Indeed responses, because obviously they don't care enough to take the 15-20 minutes it takes to do this. Then I don't have an interest. So in that regard, it helps. We have what is it, an EPP test, Dave? It's called personality,
employee personality.
Yep, and then the CCAT, right?
That's kind of
we do a small technical one, which is pretty easy.
But
the other one, CCAT, CCAT.
Yes,
but they have a whole series of assessments that you can take, and depending on the position that you're looking for, you might pick different ones, because if you're looking for marketing, you'll go a different route, or if you're looking for, an accountant, it just depends. And they actually in there will help you identify what the best assessments are for that position.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So it's not just, and to get this clear, we're all technology consulting business managed service provider owners, right? So we use this for our business. These aren't specific just for us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and it'll tell you on there, this person scored low here. They're not going to be a good lawyer. Oh, okay. That's okay with me. But personality-wise, what I've learned is that depending on where they end up on there, it tells you based on their results. Ask these questions on your next interview to kind of gauge why this scored here and see what kind of responses you get. It gives you that layer of support that you don't natively have.
Yeah. Stephanie, do you and Mr. Groot use anything?
We started using that program. We're kind of new to this hiring and stuff. We just started hiring this year, and they turned us on to that. And I will say that the results and the people we got helped us shape those. And unfortunately with Indeed and ZipRecruiter, you're flooded with so many resumes that you just outsource. If you could outsource hiring or some way, that's just something I just don't care. It's quite a job to do that.
I'd like to take a time out for a second. Okay. I'd like to take a time out because Stephanie said something that I just want to explore a little bit. Stephanie, you guys said you're new to the hiring thing, and we know this. We already know this, right? And so for the audience, this is going to be a really interesting thing. You said you're new to hiring. You haven't hired. It's always been family pretty much. Well, so from a newbie's perspective, do you kind of think this just probably is just rough to hire? I mean, you're new at it, right? You don't have anything to compare it to.
Yeah, it is very rough. And it's when you don't have experience and you lean on your friends and like accountability groups, peer groups, or whatever to coach you through those situations. And that's the value of our group and stuff, is that you guys have helped coach us through. Looking more at which we needed to shape and develop is, our core values of the business and the people you want to bring in, because like Brian said, all this that we're investing into the tools and everything that we have, that we don't want to spend this if we don't have somebody that's going to stay with us, or we hope that they really do stay with us long term. And it's, you're bringing in, even though we are family business and everybody, your work, you spend most of the time with your employees. They become like a tight knit family.
Yeah.
And so it's hard. It really is to figure out that judgment of that. Yeah,
it's rough. Now I'm going to tell you all right now, and you're probably all going to beat me up tomorrow during our peer group meeting. By the way, the Reboot Crew, we're all in a peer group together. That's why I decided to start this, because we have a lot of insight to help people. We're helping each other a lot. And so you guys are going to beat me up tomorrow. Don't beat me up on the show today. I don't use a process. I don't use a hiring tool. I don't use a candidate tool. I use ZipRecruiter.
Yeah, but you're self-employed, right?
No, I've got a team of 11
I
people,
know.
That's right. It's just me, my car, and my computer. No, just kidding. Team of 11 people. And honestly, I never put any one of them.
I never did either, Jim. I didn't either. I didn't.
And you know what? I use ZipRecruiter. It's really good about screening out. So it does a great job for me. This isn't a plug for them, but I use them. There's a whole bunch of them out there. But I am old school. I want to talk to that person. And I want to know what kind of person they are and how well they fake it. Okay. Why do I say fake it? Customer service is everything, right? And maybe they're not great at customer service, but they can fake it. If they can fake it really good, they're great at customer service, right? Can you put a smile on every single day, even when the world's collapsing around you? Because that's what I want to know, right? Can you do that? And as far as technical goes, man, if they're any good, I'm gonna see that on their resume. I'm gonna talk to their old boss. I will talk to somebody that's an old boss on an old job if I can. But we just give them a couple questions. I want to see how they problem solve. So for me, it's old school. It's not screening. Now there's a few willingness tests in there. Are they willing to come in for a day and kind of see how we do things? And I do follow the old team. You need to evaluate this person. And is this person going to fit our culture, right? Are you going to enjoy working with them? And then it's quick, it's slow to hire, quick to fire, right? Are you going to make it past the first 90 days? I want you to understand if there's anything going on in the first 90 days, we have a concern, you're put on a quick, PIP, performance improvement. And then if you don't make it out of that performance improvement in 90 days, bam, everybody's got faults. Even
the nice thing with these ZipRecruiter and Indeed, well, I know ZipRecruiter specifically, especially with this, we're talking about this great resignation, right?
Yeah.
So what you can do is search the ZipRecruiter database for people that are working right now. They're working.
Yep.
So those are the people that may be a little more, I think, vulnerable or susceptible to you reaching out and saying, listen, I have an open position here. I see where you work. Take a look at this and let me know. And I don't want to say I've had success because I haven't hired anybody, but I've had collaboration and interactions with more people doing that than pulling them in from their resumes coming in and taking the assessments. So it's still, there's a lot more people not working. I think a bigger pool than are that would take that leap and take that jump to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And either way, I mean, it's a pick your battle. I mean, neither one of them is going to be easy, but knowing that at least someone's working now, they have their head on their shoulders. They're you may know a little bit about who they're working for or the title, the role that they have.
Yeah.
You can pull from that.
Yeah, that's that proof is in the pudding, right? I mean, they're living it already. You know, they're living it already. So so let's talk about when you actually get a candidate. Everyone, I have an opinion. I address candidates that people that actually apply for a job the same as if I do a hot lead in sales. It is equivalent, if not maybe a little bit hotter, right? Okay. I'm not hiring all the time, but I am looking for customers all the time, right? So obviously I get a lot more of them. But I take that very seriously and I jump on a candidate as fast as I can. Matter of fact, I'll go so far as to text them right away. Anyone else?
Well, it's unfortunate because we're so busy. I don't even have time to follow up with them well. But I'm finding so many of them don't even respond. One of the big things you can do on those job boards is put in criteria that if they don't meet that criteria, you don't even see their resume, which is very helpful because I have
the deal breaker question, the deal breaker. Yeah.
I have found it hard, and the two job boards we use both have different ways to do it, but to do the third party assessment, it's hard to get them to do that.
Yeah.
So Jim, you're saying that when you have somebody that is the golden that you're feeling good about, that's who you're reaching out to the text. You may have others.
I text them right away. Okay. And you know what? I don't call people out of the clear blue sky. I just hate to do that. We have an appointment setter does that for prospects on direct mail, right? That's one way. But when it comes to very personable types of situations, rather than just awareness, I want to communicate. I'm a sales guy, that's what I do. And so, if I'm interested in somebody, they look good on paper, then I want to get it with them, qualify them, and then move them through the process. So I text right away. That's the hottest and fastest way to get to somebody today, especially that's looking for a job. I can almost guarantee a large corporation isn't sending a text. Hey, are you interested in coming to work? Hey, we'd love to talk. No, they're sending an email. Little tip. I used to run a resume business out of college, right? I was the first one to ever do resumes on a computer, at University of Cincinnati, right? It was amazing. It was,
Hate yourself now.
yeah, dating myself, right? As a former chemist, I was the first one ever to bring a laptop to the lab, and the laptop was like that thick and pounds. So I ran a resume business. I did resumes and I printed them up on paper where people you just did it on a typewriter before, and it looked great, right? Could apply different fonts to it, and then I taught people how to email that, okay, and then I taught people how not to email that, okay. Because everybody else was doing. I've always done what everybody else doesn't. The opposite of what everyone else has done, I've done. I do. So if they're calling, if they're emailing, forget it. I'm texting. So that's my modus operandi. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? And so text is, and I get responses when I do it that way. And honestly, it's convenient for me. I can do it while I'm driving. Just kidding.
I think part of this discussion should be, and it may not have, you may be fine with it, but I know some people that aren't. It depends on your business and how you function. But the people that are part of this great resignation are looking for jobs, not only for more money, but you know what? I want more money and I want to do it for my living room. And that's just that's just blanketed across, like, and a lot of my peers and people I know are on either side of it. It depends. In our industry, we can get away with remote work. I mean, it really doesn't matter where we do it from, right? But I don't want my staff calling clients with, they have a dog barking or a kid screaming in the background, and that's the new norm. No, we're a professional, which we maintain that, reputation, and that's just not what I want personally.
Yeah. And I think it's good to have policies on that.
I think just mentioning that brings out something that I don't always think about, but it hits me up lately, is that as everything changes, we're going to have to change the way we think too, because when I started working, I was making like $2.15 an hour.
Whoa.
And well, I was below I had to get a Department of Labor authorization to be able to work. I was like 13.
Yeah.
And so then they paid me less. But when you start looking at what the starting wages are in our industry, I'm blown away by it. Without much experience. I think we have to get over that. We have to get over the work from home piece, and not how do we make them fit our mold, but how do we fit what's coming up so that we can continue to grow.
That's a good point.
And keep changing our thought process and really grow in that respect, which is hard.
There was that one CEO out in California that took all of his staff to $75,000 as a minimum salary for the entire company. He even went so far as to take a pay cut, still working out for him. Gets incredible publicity, right? I've always myself tried to stay ahead of my competition. By the way, how do you find out what your competition's paying? Look at their job ads on ZipRecruiter. Sign up as somebody looking for a job. You'll get offers, by the way. I don't know. Maybe one day I'll take one. So what do you guys do to keep employees? Once you got them, once they've committed to starting, right? After you text message them, made them the offer, and text message them after they accept the offer. Hey, we're looking forward to having you on Monday. Are you ready to go? Hey, Saturday's here. Was just thinking about you. We're thinking about Monday. You'll do this, right? Once they're there, okay. Once they're now ingrained past their 90 days, what are you guys doing to keep your staff? We do company events. I know you'll probably make a joke, but we give them Bengals tickets, and you're going to say, "Oh, they're probably going to quit." What are you trying to do? Make them quit? But we give Bengals tickets.
Is that this 80s rock band?
Yes, it is, Brian. In all seriousness, what do you guys do? Do you guys do any employee appreciation?
We chain them to the desk and don't give them the key until the end of the day. So
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's
That definitely works.
Last year or the year before, we were doing a lot better at that. We have done different things. We try to go to a baseball game every year together, and we have breakfast every Friday. Buy everybody breakfast, and we try and do a quarterly event, but that hasn't been happening.
it's tough lately. It's
Which is it's discouraging to me, but
we were traveling guys, and we went to not this quarter, last quarter, when we went out to dinner. It was like we couldn't get a reservation. We got one late. We get to the place, it's half empty. And it was like, well, you know what? It's half empty because they don't have staff to fill the restaurant. They have plenty of people that want to go there. They just can't fill it.
Yeah.
There's just no staff.
Yeah.
So it's all over the place. And that was in just outside of Nashville. But it's, I mean, it makes some, it doesn't make, where I get lost is where the people that are able to work and get tips and still collect some extra money, now we're not working. It's, when does it end?
Yeah.
And then demanding these jobs that are just overpaid. They want, they're asking way too much. It's, who knows what's in line in the next. I think we're probably a good 12 to 18 months before we see a light somewhere.
You know what? All we can say is we can only work for our own businesses and make sure our own businesses are improving, right? So I got to tell you, with my staff, I try to bring lunch in maybe once every other week or go out once a month. We celebrate birthdays. We actually try to go, talked about the quarterly thing, David, Top Golf. The crew loves Top Golf. We go there, we play golf for an hour or two. Everybody's tired of it after too much time, bunch of food. And that seems to be, a nice event because you're outdoors, it's heated or air conditioning, whichever the case. You get the blowers in the summertime, and it's a nice team function. I'm surprised how people like that. So if you guys aren't doing a lot of team functions, definitely get back in the groove of that. So, well, listen, we're 7 minutes over. I always tell people, I always tell the crew, just in case you're listening, I always tell these guys before we start the show, well, it's going to be a short show today. We're not going to have a lot of content on this one, right? Not always, but this is one of those ethereal conversations. Where do you go completely with it? And here we are, 7.5 minutes over time. So hope you got some great information out of this. If you did, please do us a favor, like the video or like the podcast wherever you see it. Remember, we're on every Wednesday. I think we're going to be switching back to 1:30 Eastern time starting next week. So keep an eye out for that. There was a better time slot we had to adjust, and then sorry we had to readjust. We'll stick to that from now on. But like the podcast or the show wherever you see it, please go subscribe also to any of one of those platforms. You have any questions, put it in the comments anywhere. We get them and we will respond. And of course, if you're having problems finding us, just search The Reboot on #The Reboot on LinkedIn. And so we'll see you next week. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, Jim.
Have a good day. Thanks.